We got why Starbucks failed in Australia. This is actually surprising to me because I swear Starbucks is big all over the world. I know it is in America. I know it is in the UK. I have Starbucks all the time. I absolutely love it. This is interesting, man. Starbucks failed in Australia. Let's check it out.
Starbucks has coffee shops all over the world. There are more than 28,000 locations in 76 markets, from Shanghai to Guantanamo Bay. And in China,
it's big everywhere.
A new Starbucks location opens up every 15 hours.
What the fuck?
But there is one continent.
Wait, how is it open up every 15 hours and there's only 28,000? And that's just in China. What?
That seems uninterested in the hype over the Seattle-based coffee chain.
I didn't know it was that
And
big
that
in China.
continent is Australia. It's proven to be one of the toughest markets in the world to break into.
How?
So tough, in fact, that Starbucks closed more than 2/3 of its stores on the continent back in 2008. So what went so wrong with Starbucks in Australia? To answer that, let's go back to July of 2000, when Starbucks opened its first Australian shop in Sydney. From there, it expanded fast. By 2008, Starbucks had 87 stores across the continent.
I think one of the problems for Starbucks, and it's true for a lot of businesses that have been successful in one country, is that they thought that their business model could just roll out to a different environment and there was no need for them to adjust.
The thing is, though, like... Oh, wait, he's talking about adjust. Why, do Australians drink coffee different? Like, what's going on here, man?
But that was the problem. It tried to grow the empire too fast. Starbucks rapidly opened up multiple locations instead of slowly integrating them into the Australian market.
When they launched too rapidly and didn't give the Australian consumer an opportunity to really develop an appetite for the Starbucks brand.
Mate, it's Starbucks. No, like, I'm thinking, like, surely people in Australia heard of Starbucks across the world. It's like, you know how, like, there's, my mind's got black now, but you know how, like, there's brands in, let's say Chipotle, for example, in America. If they open a lot of Chipotles in the UK, I guarantee you it's going to do well, and a lot of people is going to try it and have it and probably like it and enjoy it and have it more because they've already heard of it. Starbucks is one of the biggest goddamn fucking chains in the world, right? So... if they was like, bam, Australia, well, obviously I'm wrong because it failed. I'm just biased to Starbucks, man. I love Starbucks.
They also moved into regional areas.
I love my iced coffees.
Into outer suburbs of major cities. And so for the Australian consumer, it was almost like it was too available for them. And so there wasn't this point of difference, this want, this need for Starbucks, and it wasn't an organic growth, which is what we very much saw in the US.
In its first 7 years in Australia, Starbucks accumulated $105 million in losses. By 2007, Starbucks Australia was hanging on by a thread, taking big loans from the US, totaling up to $54 million. And in 2008, Starbucks announced it was shutting down 61 stores.
Shit! Wait, no wonder is fucking...
And in 2008,
look at
Starbucks
this.
announced it was...
No wonder it's failing, man. Bro, the middle of Australia is... the people don't live there. Why you got stores? No, I'm kidding.
shutting down 61 stores.
But people don't live in the middle.
But of course, 2008 was a difficult time for businesses due to the financial crisis.
Right,
Along with the
okay.
Australia closures,
Starbucks is quite
also
expensive,
closed
to be fair.
600 underperforming American stores. But even still, such a retreat in Australia was embarrassing for the brand.
When you're shutting down 75 stores, for the Australian consumer, when they did leave the market, or at least a large number of their stores were shut down, they didn't really care.
It's partly because Australians are spoiled for choice when it comes to coffee. Australia's coffee market is one of the biggest in the world. The industry is expected to hit more than $6 billion in total revenue in 2018.
That makes sense. You see, like, in the UK, if you want to get a coffee, there's barely any coffee shops. You've either got Costa or you got Starbucks. You could go to, like, McDonald's and get a coffee, but they're pretty crap. But, like, if you want a good coffee... something really nice, it's either Starbucks or Costa. There's not really much choice, you know what I mean? Like, if I'm driving, I'm like, oh my god, I really want an iced coffee. It's either McDonald's or Starbucks I'm going to.
They've been immersed in nuances of cafe culture since the mid-1900s, when Italian and Greek immigrants began traveling to the country. The immigrants introduced Australians to espresso. By the 1980s, Australians were fully engulfed in cafe culture. They've also grown accustomed to specialty menu items, like a flat white or an Australian macchiato.
Ooh.
So
that flat white looks nice.
We're born out of like the Italian culture of meeting a friend and knowing your local barista, and it being kind of like a local meeting place where everyone knew each other, and that coffee was just a part of that. And then Starbucks came in with what is more of an American style like coffee culture, which
Right.
is essentially just like coffee is a product, coffee is a commodity, coffee is like to like perk me up in the morning. It's caffeination.
Starbucks had a basic menu and
Oh.
offered more sugary drinks, which most Australians didn't like.
In Australia,
Oh,
where,
what's that?
local tastes are different. So
Wait, was that sweets on your coffee cream? What the fuck is it? No wonder they
we
failed.
don't really want a coffee that's hundreds of ounces with lots of sugar in it. We want something a bit more sophisticated.
Plus,
Right.
Starbucks charged more than local cafes. So Australians instead opted to pay less for coffee they liked from a local barista they trusted.
And so when you come in with this big like, hey, we're going to open all these cafes and they're all going to be to-go focused, it just was the complete wrong market for
I can't believe it
what-
failed this
what
hard.
the Australian was used to.
But there's one American coffee company that's thriving in Australia. Founded in Chicago and now
Huh?
based in Australia, Gloria Jean's got the traction in Australia that Starbucks couldn't.
Never
Gloria
heard of
Jean's has
Gloria
more than
Jean's.
400 Australian locations and serves more than 35 million consumers in Australia each year.
Hey, Starbucks. Hey, you're a big enough company. You gotta get your noteboards out. You gotta get your notepads out. Start writing down what they're doing right, and you're doing right. You gotta change your shit.
So what is Gloria Jean's doing in Australia that Starbucks isn't? Well, the company attributes its success to two Australians who franchised the business in their home country. Shops started to show up in Australia in 1996. Fast forward to today, the company has a presence in every Australian state.
Wow.
The reason? Its menu. The chain offers a wide variety of espresso drinks and specialty coffee. Failing to adapt its menu to Australians' coffee culture proved to be a mistake for Starbucks,
Right.
and the company faces another challenge later this year: Italy. Starbucks is
Uh-oh.
opening its first store in Milan in late 2018. Home of the espresso, Italy is rich in cafe culture. But according to Starbucks, it's not going to make the same mistakes that it did in Australia. The company said that it would develop in Italy with humility and respect for its coffee culture. It announced it would be
Right.
opening a roastery, which is not your average cafe.
Wait, what did they do to the UK then? I swear the UK, they just opened up loads of stores and we was just hooked immediately. I don't know what the fuck happened in the UK, but all of a sudden there was Starbucks everywhere and we all loved it. I don't know what happened.
It gives customers a chance
don't
to
think
see
we had
coffee
much of a
beans
choice.
roasted and processed before their eyes.
You know what? That's actually true. Actually, like in the UK, there's barely any choice for coffee. Like I said it earlier, but there's actually like before Starbucks and Costa, there was nothing. Like you can't just walk down the street and there's a coffee shop.
So there's a chance that it won't struggle like it did in Australia. But Starbucks isn't admitting defeat in Australia either. Starbucks is staging a comeback on the continent. In 2014, Starbucks locations in Australia were purchased by the Mount Waverly-based Withers Group. Starbucks told CNBC that since its sale to the Withers Group, the company learned a lot. So this time, it's taken a different approach to putting Starbucks on the continent.
So if
gotta
you just think
adapt.
about Australia's a big tourism destination. There's a lot of US and Chinese tourists. Starbucks have been very successful in China, and it makes a lot of sense for them to build out because there are people looking for something that's familiar to them.
Now with 39 locations in Brisbane, Melbourne, the Gold Coast, and Sydney areas, this time it's not looking to appeal to Australians. But instead, the coffee giant hopes to be a familiar face for tourists visiting popular vacation destinations in Australia.
That's what is. Does that make sense? Right? Starbucks, you are a probably $1 billion company, right? Maybe close. I don't know, but surely. Where you're like, yo, let's release in another country. You're gonna release it in tourist attractions because you know those tourists are probably gonna like Starbucks because you're already there, right? So, like for example, if I go on holiday and I walk past a Starbucks, I'm most likely gonna get a nice iced coffee if I'm feeling one, right? Because I like Starbucks anyway. That makes sense. And then you expect that. Why would you just be like, oh, hey Australia, what, bam, right? 100 stores. Oh no, we've got to close it. Like what?
Australia's always been a high volume tourist market. The same thing in terms of international students at our universities.
They didn't do their research.
Potential opportunities for them, and we're starting to see Starbucks enter into some large shopping malls here in Australia as well.
Australia welcomed 9 million tourists from 2017 to 2018. And those international visitors spent more than $30 billion in 2017
I want to go to
alone.
Australia so much.
So tourists could possibly be the
Huh?
spent more than $30 billion in 2017 alone. So tourists could possibly be the key to keeping
Wait, is that on? No fucking way.
the company afloat and preventing another downfall.
Jesus Christ. Wow, really good video though. Enjoy that one. Now I want a Starbucks and I actually want to go to Australia. So yeah, great. I'm just going to enjoy my time with my Red Bull and in the UK. Nice.